Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Hey, today we're going to go ahead and continue on this discussion around data governance, all things data governance. So, welcome back. So, today we're going to dive into kind of a critical but often overlooked part of data governance, which is called quarantining or rejecting non conforming records. So, if you're working with data in any capacity, now, this could be literally, you could, I guess, do this at your own desktop for your own data to make sure it meets the standards that you want it to meet. But for an organization, either small or large, it doesn't really matter. This is one tactic in the data governance things to do that you can't afford to ignore, especially in resource constrained environments where it makes a huge difference that you get your data right, because it will cost you in opportunity costs down the line. So let's jump right to it and walk through kind of, I just have three basic drawings here that are going to break out for you some of the things of identifying what flawed data is. What is the data that needs to be rejected or quarantined? And then we're going to talk about maybe some preventive and some actual actions to make that data better. So let's start here with when data comes into a system, right? Whether it's from an import, maybe it's a external feed, an API, it doesn't really matter. As data comes into your environment, some of it might not meet your data quality standards. Now, of course, we talk about in other videos how to actually create data standards. So hopefully you've watched that video. If not, go check it out. But so anything that does not meet your data quality standards are non-conforming records. So for example, maybe missing email, wrong format, invalid values. All of these records don't belong in production. So what do? You really have two options. You quarantine it, which means that we're going to stick it aside, put it somewhere within our environment. We're going to talk about that next, of kind of isolating it for further review, human review often, or we reject it completely because it's way out and we don't let it into the environment at all. So the opportunity cost associated with not doing quarantining or rejecting of non-conforming records really will add up to hours of rework of your data. Look, when you start getting data and pushing it into a centralized location and you have bad data in there, it is an arduous task to fix, right? To remediate. So you're going to have broken reports. The visualization's not going to work. Your compliance will be off, and your users absolutely will get frustrated. So to ensure that you have a trusted system, you have to keep that system clean. And it impacts directly your analytics, the accuracy of your analytics, and allows your teams to stay focused on really high value work. So taking care of this in the beginning is a step in the right direction. So one of the ways to do this is to build a quarantine zone. Now, in a perfect world, we'd have infinite time and resources to fix bad data on the fly, literally on the fly. But in reality, we're all working with limited budgets, limited resources, tight timelines, and small teams. So we have to be able to create this quarantine zone. And like any other quarantine zone within information technology, it's a place where we store things that need additional effort. Now, when creating a quarantine zone, remember, we're really focused on the data that's flawed. So that would be data that's going to create negative impact on your environment. That's kind of the standard right? Things that don't meet your data standard, as we discussed on the last screen, but it's kind of your standard for what goes into the quarantine zone. So remember that's, what's going to cost me hours of rework? What's going to create broken reports or kind of not provide the right information to my analytics engine so that I'm getting my dashboards and reporting correct? What's going to cause compliance issues for me? And probably the most important, what's going to create user frustration when data is input incorrectly and they try to pull that data out? Remember, it only takes one time of them pulling data out and it not being accurate for them to lose trust in your system. So this is an important step. By catching problems at the gate, you're protecting your system, your reputation, and the work that your team is accomplishing. So here, how do we really get started with the environment? And some final thoughts here. There's really kind of 7 steps, and I didn't create a graphic for them. Perhaps I should have, but there's really 7 steps that you go through. 1, define the rules in your environment. So what's acceptable? This is built upon your data standards, of course, but what's acceptable, what's not, what are required fields, formats, valid ranges, etc. You set the standard. 2, create a validation logic of some sort using tools like Power Query, SQL, Power Automate, or other scripts to automate the check and balance of that data system. Whatever data is coming in, you can establish via policy and use computer automation to double check any of the data that's being ingested into your environment. Step 3, make sure you quarantine data. Create this quarantine zone, and this could be as simple as a table, a SharePoint list, Amazon S3 bucket, no endorsement of Amazon, but could be Google as well. Just keep whatever it is out of production. Number 5, add notifications. Alert your data stewards or whoever it is you have helping with this that something has gone into quarantine, and trigger those reviews with maybe a Power Automate email, for example. Track the metrics of what's going on in the environment. Log what's getting flagged, by whom, and why. Look for trends in the data. Justify improvements. Number 7, refine regularly. So what this means is this is an iterative process, right? Revisit your rules, evolve your system, make your processes smarter over time. So quarantining and rejecting data isn't just a best practice. It's one of the most effective, low-effort ways to improve data governance and the quality of your data. It's proactive, it's scalable, and it protects everything that runs on data. So if you're serious about data quality, make this one of your early priorities. Good luck.